You know, it's it's been quite a week for me this week. And I also learned some lessons within that week. And sometimes we think lessons as like in a negative light, but they don't need to be, right? What is the outcome of the lesson that you learned? What is the positive, the possibility that you learned from a lesson? So, over these past few days in my day job, I manage several people, and in the industry that I'm in, supply chain, international supply chain, a lot of things can go wrong all the time, all the time. But what I was feeling was a little bit of overwhelmed, but yet not the pressure from my head to figure it out and my route to do what I was able to do, because honestly, it just came, these challenges just kept coming one after the other after the other. We would start on one, then I'd have someone else from the group, "Hey, Terry, I got this problem." And then another situation would come in. It's like, "Terry, what do I do about this?" This went on almost nonstop for 2 days straight. Now, Monday through Wednesday, they were pretty quiet, pretty easy going. I like those days, right? Those are nice days. You just kind of come in, do your thing, and it's just very calm and not a lot of, I don't know, what you feel like maybe craziness going on. I don't know. But over these last couple of days, from the time I walked in until the time I left, it was just constant hits of Terry. Now, in the past, I would have gotten very overwhelmed. I would have felt like I needed to fix it all for everybody. But over time, and I notice it more and more as I lean more and more into my human design, that I am able to step back, take a pause, really, and just be for a minute, and then come back and look at the situation, and then guide each member of my team into the process of what steps we want to take in order to resolve the situation. And there were times I stepped in to help and support them and not just have them do it, because I do like having people do the thing, to work through the thing while I'm there. Yes, supporting them, but so they also discover really more about themselves and what they're capable of. Even in international transportation, you can take, that grounding, that process of stepping back and breathing and moving into it and being okay to ask for support and help. And it all worked out. It all worked out. No one was going, like off crazy, feeling overwhelmed and stuff. We moved through it calmly. And as long as I stayed grounded, then they were able to stay grounded. So that was a big lesson. I learned that more and more each time that happens, because I'm learning more and more about myself, right? Now, if that would happen 6, 7 years ago, I would have been in complete and total overwhelm. And I would have pushed every team member into do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and control every situation. I laid down the control. I took a pause. I grounded myself. And then I moved into the role that I was meant to play as an emotional projector, to guide my team, to guide and help them and help support them so they grow stronger. So that's kind of been my week. And so before we get started, I have been talking for weeks now about this 4-week intensive program, Beyond the Shadow and Reclaiming. And I've been saying that I haven't set a date yet. Well, I finally set a date. We're going to start on September 9th. There we go. And it is 4 weeks. And it's really designed to give you the experience of what's possible for you, right? So we work together, 4 weeks, one-on-one calls. I don't do homework. I don't do modules. My biggest, strongest gift for anyone is being in the room with them, even virtually being in the room with them, to connect with them and pick up on your energy and feel kind of what's going on, and let you guide me. And I listen to everything you say. And then we work on, where's the wound? What's driving some of these stories? And we also want to take a look at your design, human design, because much of our stories can live within our human design through our open centers, through our open gates, because those are kind of like our lessons, right? And then also, we also look at what is how shall I put this? What is it you're here to do? Now, it's not you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a vet, you're going to be a farmer, but it gives you clues of what feels really right for you. For example, I've always known I love to work with people. I have fun working with people. I used to be a salesperson at a department store way back when, and I had a blast at the jewelry counter. I would meet all kinds of people and they would say, okay, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And we would have a conversation and we put a whole package together for them, and off they went, and they were thrilled and I had a blast. And so I listen to them and I guide them into what I think this is what they're saying that they want. This is what I feel that you want. And it's also a lot of creativity too, right? And then I moved into really guiding a team. And I've been guiding and training teams and team members, gosh, probably most of my life, really. And that is what I am designed to do. But I took that into an area, an industry that felt safe to me, but it was a hard industry. It's very hard on you physically, emotionally, and even your health and well-being. It's just a really hard industry. But I've been doing that for a lot of years. And through that, I have come to know, as you know, I've gone through abortion recovery. I've gone through a lot of wound and inner child and trauma healing. And as I move through all that, what I'm trying to say here is all of those bits and pieces that I uncovered about myself and the release of a lot of old stories and very low energies and energies around stories I've been carrying around for years and years and years, that opened me up to knowing that this path right here that I'm talking to you about, to help you so you don't have to go through what I went through, to help guide you into who and how you are wired to be your highest, happiest, peaceful, amazing, unique, beautiful self. And we let go of those energies and we move them out of your body through some somatic tools. That's what I do. So that's what we start around on week 1. We take a look at your human design. We see where some of those traumas are lying. And then you also tell me what brought you here, what brought you to me. And then the second week, go a little deeper. We start to distinguish the feeling from the story that the mind's telling you. And there's a little bit around that. And I'm not going to go into all the detail here, but that also has some tools of releasing energies and starting to shift that story without narrating the story, without giving the story your mind has created validation, and that it is possible for you to start to change that story. So then now we get to week 3. Yeah, we'll just do a little bit on the human design a little bit. Is it sitting in your heart? You know, the heart, if you have an open heart, I have an open heart. We are constantly looking for what is our purpose here? What were we meant to do? What am I supposed to be doing? I want clarity. It's your self-worth. It is your wondering of what you're meant to do. Or is it that maybe that you're like, is this all there is? Just to go through life one day at a time? Is this all there is, really? It happens. Totally happens. Because I've had those thoughts. And then I did go through a lot of transformation to get where I'm at today. So that's just kind of in a nutshell. And, open head, there's lots of things going on when you have an open head. Inspiration drops in, but also there's a pressure to figure out how to do the thing. What's the answer? How do you do it? How do you do it? What's the thing? Get me to that path. Where's that clarity? How to get there? And then maybe if you have an open root, then you feel the pressure of do. And there's more to that, but it kind of gives you an idea of where some of that pressure you might be feeling to do, to figure out, to understand, and wonder, what is my purpose here? So we start to look at that along with the story from your mind and where the energy is being stored in your body. We start again, one more time, start moving some of that energy out. And then on week 4, we really start talking about integrating the tools and the practices that I give you along these 4 weeks and how to move you forward if you choose, in your own way, in your own path, in your own time. And it's really kind of mind blowing in so many ways. I've worked with women that, before we get to the 4th week, they're like, I need to work with you more. And that's not a Terry, awesome, you're great. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not doing any of that. But it's more of a conversation for you that I have had with other women, for you to know that there is more. But this 4 weeks, this is kind of like your launch point to get you moving in that direction. So anyway, 4 weeks, one-on-one. I'm considering in some cases, case by case, it could be a one-on-one call every 2 weeks, which would make your specific program an 8-week program. Because in many cases, that 1 week call and integration might be too much for you. And I don't want that to happen. So when those kind of things happen, let's take those 2 weeks. Let's give you some time to really, really sit in the work that we did that week and the week before, and really work on some of those somatic practices that I will give you to practice on and to integrate within those 2 weeks. It's really quite amazing. So anyway, back to my thing. 4 weeks might be 8 weeks for you. Homework, no modules, me, live calls, and the investment is $84.99. I wanted to make this in a price point that I felt was accessible for everyone. Look, the economy, it sucks. I get that. I really do. You have expenses. I have expenses. And so we watch our money, right? We're careful with our money. And so that's why I wanted to make this price point. And that's kind of like my long drawn out explanation. So now let's get on with our conversation. So what we want to talk about today is, what is the hidden cost when you suppress your feelings? What happens if you let those stories and those feelings sit in your body for a long period of time? And that length of time is going to be very dependent from person to person, right? Because no two people react the same way. No two people have the same feelings, or it's sitting in the same part of your body, or have the same experiences. So it's going to look a little different. Yet there's similarities, is what I want to say. And there could be some very long-term effects when you continue to suppress your feelings, when you continue to push them down, when you continue to live in control mode or survival mode. And when we do that, we start to shut down the signals our body is telling us. When we feel sad, we feel angry, we feel like we want to cry and we don't. Grief, crying, anger. What's behind the anger? Because there's anger. I get that, but usually what made you angry? What's behind that anger? Did you get angry at yourself? Were you self-judging? Did someone say something that triggered you into a feeling that and a story you have had for many, many years? And it's like, okay, this really makes me ticked off. I'm so angry and I can't be angry. I'm not allowed to be angry. I don't have time to be angry. You know what? It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. I know someone very close to me who says when they get angry, and they do get angry, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And then all of a sudden I hear, it's all good. It's all good. What did they do? They suppressed their feelings. They pushed it down. They numbed, and they went into control mode. And I see this person do this so very often. And it really hurts my heart to see that happen. And it hurts my heart to see anyone do that. But this person came to mind pretty quick to kind of give you an idea of, are you doing something similar? There can be long-term effects when we don't allow the feelings to accept the feelings we have coming up in a situation and to allow them to move through so they can be momentary because our feelings change. They fluctuate. They're up and down, right? But when we start building stories around those feelings and we start reliving it over and over and over again, and we really start suppressing how it made us feel, the long-term effects can be you silence your voice. A physical side effect of that could be where you have problems with your thyroid because you've suppressed your feelings and your voice so much that now there is a problem with your thyroid. Could be, I know a little tiny bit about thyroids. Could be, maybe you could develop Hashimoto's. Maybe you had to have half your thyroid removed because the one side was like attacking the other side. So our thyroid, our TSH or TSH level, I think it's supposed to be in single numbers. And when they diagnosed me with my thyroid problem, the part that was attacking the other side was in the triple digits. I'm telling you, I was all over the place on my emotions. I really, really was. And it was kind of scary too. But I was also grateful that they figured out what it was. But had I realized at that time why I was having all these problems with my thyroid, all these problems with my heart. I had half my thyroid removed. I have suppressed and gone through so much trauma, unhealed trauma and feelings that I did not let out for many, many, many years. I started having AFib to the point where before they really kind of understood it, they used to tell you to do some crazy things to get your heart rate back into place. But I can remember distinctly where my heart would kick up so hard you could see my shirt move. And I was sitting still. And by the time it got done and returned to a normal heart rate, I felt like I had run a marathon nonstop. I was physically exhausted and had to go to sleep. That went on for a lot of years until I started asking questions of a doctor. It's like, yeah, that's not normal. I thought it was normal because, I thought it was normal. So there's the thyroid. There's the heart. There's your gut. One of the biggest things I have learned when we suppress our emotions, our feelings rather, and our mind is rolling in those stories is it will affect your gut, your digestion, and the foods that we choose, the foods. Our mind says, okay, if I have these chips or I have these cookies or I have this cake or I have this pizza or this burger and fries, it's going to make me feel better. That story's not so bad because, I got some burgers and, burger and fries out of it or a milkshake or whatever that is. When we feed that story, we feed those suppressed emotions. What are we feeding it, right? What are we feeding it? We are feeding it garbage, but we're feeding it junk. When we start to allow yourself to recognize those feelings and start to move them out of your body, what I have found, I have watched personally is your food choices start to shift into healthier food choices. Doesn't happen overnight, okay? You start to feel better physically. You may not have all the bloating. You may not have all the constipation. But if you have let this go on for years, you may find relief when you start to make those changes. You likely will, but you may also likely have done some permanent harm to that part of your body. What's some other places? Joint pain in your shoulders and your hips by not speaking. That suppression of not speaking is going somewhere, and it's going somewhere in your body. I don't want that for you. I don't. I truly, truly don't. When I have suppressed my feelings for so long and my voice for so long, I paid the price. I have paid the price. I don't want that for anybody. And then we go into numbness. Talked about illness. Then we start doing the whole disconnection thing from self. It's like you literally start to disconnect from yourself when those feelings start to come up. You ignore them. They don't exist. You may even tell yourself it didn't happen. Just saying. And all those bits and pieces, that disconnection from self, that numbness, that that doubt you may feel, that fear that you may feel, that starts to mirror itself. It's the same wounds in our relationships with other people because we attract those same kind of people. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. What I'm saying is if you can be aware of the bits and pieces, just, at a top layer, it's like, oh, wow, Terry, yeah, I do have some self-doubt. I've always wondered, what is my purpose? I've had these stories of I'm not good enough. I can never get it right. I make the worst choices ever in relationships. And why? And you just really just beat yourself down. My husband said something one day last week, I think it was, I don't remember what it was about. It might have been our neighbor they've had a really, really tough financial time. And he was over there helping them move some stuff out because they lost their home. And so he was helping as much as he could. And, he would just come home and just he was so sad. But he also said something, and I don't remember what made him say this, but he's like, when someone is in that place in their life or somewhere for whatever reason is in that place in their life, it's like, we shouldn't be punching people down for it. We need to lift them up and help and support them. And that just really kind of stuck with me. So I'm going to ask you, are you punching yourself down, or will you allow someone to come alongside and support you and love you and help you stand? That's my big thing here. But this is just the real deal, guys. This is it. This is me. This is how I work. And I give you everything I've got because I have lived this. I have lived the ablations on my heart. I have lived the gut problems, joint pain. And I've got some ideas about that joint pain. And, not for nothing, there's a decision I need to make that I have been avoiding for years. To be honest, I've been avoiding it for years. And I need to have a conversation with someone to start making some changes. Now, when I start making those changes, my anticipation is that joint pain in my hip that some days screams at me, and sometimes I do ignore it, I will be honest. I'm anticipating a lot of relief there. And also when I start making those changes, I suspect a lot of the gut and digestion issues will also start to fade. So yeah, I have some work of my own to do here. Yeah, mine's a pretty deep work at this point, but we all don't have to start that deep. It took me a long time to get to this point, to have those revelations for myself, but I had to start here and kept going. And I worked with myself and I allowed myself to have those feelings. And some of them were damn hard. And there were a lot of tears. And I never used to let myself cry. Never. Because I had somewhere in my head that tears were weakness. Tears were a sign of weakness. They're not. They are a sign of cleansing. They are a sign of vulnerability. And quite honestly, they are a sign of strength. Because when you're done, you feel cleansed. And it's a pretty amazing place to be when the tears dry at that moment and you just allow yourself a pause and to breathe and really go within yourself and check in. How do you feel? You might be surprised. Anyway, so what's something that you could do right here, right now to maybe move some of that? I found a good exercise that I like, that I use myself because I have fear on some things. I do. We're not all 100% truly healed. We all go through things at different levels at different times. So there's times I have fear around things, but this has kind of stuck with and it has helped me quite a bit. Just put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your belly, have this fear, and you are welcome here. I have this fear, and you are welcome here. I have this fear, and you are welcome here. Just take a few minutes and and feel how that feels in your body. Where do you feel it? And then I am part of the divine, and you are also welcome here. Part of the divine, and you are also welcome here. and take some more grounding breaths and see how that feels in your body. It's not a one and done, okay? None of this is a one and done, but with consistency, and consistency is going to look different for everybody depending on how your human design is, okay? My consistency is not going to look like yours, depending on, if you're a generator, manifesting generator, manifester, projector, reflector, okay? We all have different ideas of what consistency means for us and what works well for us in our body. But with consistency, let your body feel how that moves around in your body. See it, acknowledge it, say hello to it, love it. Look, we all have fears. I go into new discoveries or a new recording like this one, and I get some doubts. I get some doubts before I start, and sometimes there's some fear around this. There was a little bit around this one. I have to maybe look at why. Sometimes, the whole talking thing, sometimes that's a struggle for me, and that can bring up some fear for me. And I also know when I feel that fear, for me, is I recognize that fear. It's like, I see you. I see you, fear. Come on over here. Let's walk together. It's okay. It's okay. We are safe. We are loved, and it's okay. And I move into the fear, and I take it one step at a time until I get to the other side of the thing I'm working on. And I look back and it's like, I did that. I did that. And it's pretty freaking amazing. I had fear around my website, which has caused me just grief. But you know what? There's a good story for you. My mind was telling me so many stories on repeat for months about how difficult it was going to be for me to update this website the way I really and truly wanted it. And you know what? I went into it. There was fear. There was resistance. There was, I don't feel like it. And there was all kinds of things going on there. But I intentionally set an alarm or a timer for 30 minutes each evening. And I would work on a section and work on a section and work on a section. And if I got stuck on how to make something specific work, I would stop. I would do a chat or I would Google it, and it gave me the steps, and it worked. And it was not nearly as hard as I thought I was telling myself. It really, really wasn't. And when I got done, I am telling you, there was a happy dance going on inside my body. It's like, yes, I did this. When we start doing the thing that we say no, no, no resistance to, and we do it one step at a time. Me, it was 30 minutes a day. Yours might look a little different, but when you get to the end of that, there is a happy dance. There is a happy dance. So, all right, we're going to wind this up. If any of this resonated with you and you really want to start to see how to move some of these stories, some of these feelings that you have been suppressing from your body, to feel lighter, to feel better, to feel more expansive, to be more accepting of yourself, and to smile, truly smile so it like hits your eyes. That's pretty cool. Yeah. If you have questions, I'll put an email down in the show notes. Email me your questions. Okay. I'll leave the website down there to sign up. You can look through it. I've got some Q&A in there for the 4 weeks. So anyway, it starts, like I said, September 9th, and it's one-on-one calls with me. Again, no homework, no modules. I will probably keep it like that for a while. And that's it. I'm not going to sell you anything. I hate that. I cannot make myself do that. I will run the other way if someone asks me to do that. I cannot do that. But I will give you the information. You see how it sits in your body. What are you feeling? What are you feeling? And if it feels right for you, I would love to see you on September 9th. Anyway, you guys have an amazingly blessed week. Bye.